we have ligand binding assays. We've got 4 or 5 platforms that we can select for that. And then, Don, you can share a little bit about the hybrid mass spec. That really allows us to tackle things like, biologics and certain biomarkers, as well as like oligos and things like that. Other modalities that are somewhat challenging, having those all under the same roof really give us an advantage around the camaraderie of it, the ability to move quickly and glean pieces of information from each of the different platforms that we're using.
Yeah, I think it's really modality driven, right? So if you're a small molecule shop, you want lots of technologies that will approach a small molecule answer. In this case, where Dom's talking about is if you have a lot of the new pharmaceutical, a lot of the new biologics are large molecules. So when you have a large molecule shop, most CROs, a lot of them have LBA only, which is ligand binding assay only to be able to do this. What we have at KCAS is a way to do large molecule by LCMS. And so that's a little bit more of a niche field, a little bit more unique, that when something doesn't work by one technology, we can easily pivot to the other. And there's lots of platforms, and we'll explain as we go through this, where either could work, but having the ability to pivot back and forth from one to the other really sets us apart and really drives our clients' success in getting the right things
and maybe
done.
we can dig in a little on that, right? So when we talk about hybrid mass spec, the front, it's a affinity capture, right? The front end piece of that is an antibody driven procedure. That's part of what a ligand binding assay is. So when you have it all under one roof and a team that communicates, we're not siloed as an organization. So if, for example, we start with a ligand binding assay, we might screen a couple different antibodies, and if it's not working to the level that we want it to, we can go over to our hybrid mass spec team and say, hey, we've looked at these. Now they may still screen some different antibodies, but it gives you a good amount of information about, it gives you like a head start. And then the other thing, sometimes we like to make it fun at KCAS, and what we do is we kind of like get in a race where we'll do a method feasibility by ligand binding assay, a method feasibility by hybrid, and whoever can get the problem solved the right way ends up being the one who furthest that team will develop and validate the method. But when I say that, it's a healthy competition, meaning if one team finds out information that can help the other team, we share it. It's not one of those close vested things.
Yeah, and the other piece is it is a fun, healthy competition, but really it's a lot of times when you get a new molecule, you have no idea what's the best way to do it. And so by taking a few days by both, we can actually get experimental data and science to tell us which is the best way to go. And so then that's the one that usually wins. Whether they're the first or not, it's really, a competition, but it's more like allowing us to look at everything that we want to see and get some actual data to say, oh, this is not looking good, we better go this way, or vice versa.
Yeah, and there's a couple things that I can add there. We like to get there fast, meaning if one platform's not working or if the reagents aren't working, you need to know that information quickly. I think the other falls into when we're kind of doing those platforms, a lot of times a client will come to us and say they have a ligand binding assay that they've done internally and they want to transfer it to us. They may look at that and say, hey, I think there's an opportunity to look at this by hybrid mass spec just to glean pieces of information. It may make for a better method. It may solve the problem a little, like sensitivity may be improved. Also, I think it allows you to find that information out earlier, right?
Yeah,
like if
absolutely.
You're looking at the long-term drug development, if you're able to find out early on in development that, hey, ligand binding assays don't work as well as hybrid, that allows you to position yourself with the agency a little better. Years from now, right? You got to start, you think in the moment, but you're actually thinking about the future when you make that investment earlier.
Yeah, and I think to add a little bit, we also try to see which one can't work, right? So we try to kill it fast. So if we try both and we go, yeah, that's just not going to work, then we know we got to make this one work.
Yeah.
Or sometimes both work, and then we come up with other conversations and reasons why we would want to push one or the other, because maybe it's cheaper or faster or more reliable or some other.
A lot of it has to do with the familiarity of the client, what they're more comfortable with.